series, and we thank Keurig for bringing that to us, for allowing us to have that music on Friday mornings during the summer and bring it to you at home.
Yeah, I set my watch to it.
And Thompson Square, by the way, fantastic. And they got a brand new album drops today.
I used to live on Thompson Square.
Really? I don't think it's related to the group at all. But
just trying to participate.
There's nothing you will ever bring up to Geraldo, and he won't have a personal experience.
Right.
He doesn't have to make it up. David Bossy, you're playing outside right next to Pete. I don't know why you chose Pete over me, but we'll talk about that later. Ooh. And Geraldo Rivera right here talking about the most important news of the day. Welcome,
Thanks for having us. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
All right, so Samantha Bee got in some trouble for what she said, that vile comment that she said about Ivanka Trump. If you missed it, we bleeped out the cuss word, but listen to this.
Let me just say, one mother to another, do something about your dad's immigration practices, you feckless. He listens to you. Put on something tight and low cut and tell your father to stop it.
Well, the president speaks for itself. The president tweeting this morning in response saying this: why aren't they firing no talent Samantha Bee for the horrible language used on her low ratings show? A total double standard. But that's okay. We are winning, and we'll be doing so for a long time to come. David, I'll start with you.
It speaks for itself. These people have Trump derangement syndrome. They are sick. They're demented. For somebody to say this about Ivanka Trump, who is a friend of mine, and I hold her in the highest regard. She is incredibly talented on her own right, but she's a wife, a mom, a daughter. To say these types of things is, we've used the word vile. Samantha Bee needs her mouth washed out with soap, or I don't know what happened to her in her childhood, but she has literally no talent. I never heard of her before, but we are where we are in this Hollywood mentality of anything the left wants to say, they get away with it. Look at Keith Olbermann.
Yeah, Geraldo.
Yes,
so much hatred now. If you disagree with someone, that's okay, but you don't have to call them this word.
Oh, for sure. First, to David's point about he never heard of her before, I believe that this was a premeditated, egregious attack on Ivanka Trump. I believe that it went up to the highest levels at TBS. This could not have been launched just spontaneously. It is a tape show. They bleeped out the offending word.
We did.
Well, they bleeped it out. They bleeped the C word. I believe they did bleep the C word.
I don't think so.
Oh, no?
I think, well, our producers are saying no. That
makes it even worse.
That makes it even worse. That makes it even worse. But a couple of things. First of all, on the issue, and I don't think we should overlook the issue. I agree with the left, generally speaking, that the zero tolerance policy at the border, separating children from their parents, is immoral. That's what I believe in terms of the substantive issue. I also believe that Samantha Bee, that attack was so vile, it was so destructive. It was not only calling her the C word, which in my view is the gender equivalent of the N word. It is the bomb when you're talking to a woman. And this is a feminist comedian talking to another woman and using the C word. I think it is absolutely intolerable. Furthermore, she also alludes to incest, or an incestuous appeal between the first daughter and the president of the United States. This is Roseanne in leftist or liberal clothing. I think that the response should be
she has no
very
business
serious.
being on television. She just has no business. These people are irresponsible. Like Geraldo said, somebody approved this script. This was scripted. This was planned. Somebody needs to be held accountable for this. Just to apologize, Roseanne tried to apologize. They kick her off the air. And the double standard is outrageous. This president does not deserve this, but they only are serving to help this president because the American people wake up and they expose themselves, and the American people realize that these people, no matter what this president does, nothing is good enough. They will never agree with him. And just things like this help this president. And you know what? I'm grateful for their outrageousness.
Now, Geraldo, you kind of compared what she said to what Roseanne said. In my mind, what Roseanne said is the ultimate worst. I mean, that's a race. That's a human race you're talking about.
It's horrible. You can't get any lower than that.
Absolutely. But what Samantha Bee did, if you want to talk about hypocrisy, and I don't think you can equate it to Roseanne, I think you can, if this were a conservative on air talking about the Obama girls.
Heave-ho.
Exactly.
They'd be gone.
That's the double standard.
Now, I don't want this person fired, or I don't want an advertiser boycott. That is,
it's happening.
That is
two major
That's what the left does every time.
That's not my thing. If that's what the commercial interests decide, so be it. But I think this is an example of how the political divide, the ideological divide in this country is encouraging people to abandon norms. Where are we as a society when you can make an ape joke about an African-American woman? Where did we go? What happened to the evolution of our society? You can make a C joke, a feminist can make a C joke about another woman, and who happens to be, as David said, the mother and, you know, working for no pay.
How about we get past that? How about we don't do that anymore? We can have great debates on the ideas and on policy, but why is everything now in the gutter? Why has everything become personal? And it's all because they hate this president. And I say this, they hate this president more than they love this country, the left. The Hollywood derangement that they have out there, they just are out of touch with reality.
What is it? Is it the deep state? Are they just trying anything that a conservative does? They want to go after their love life
and their livelihood and their
money, their children.
When somebody who's a conservative does something, the left orchestrates corporate America to boycott.
Yeah.
This is outrageous. We must boycott. You must pull your ads. Look what happened here on this channel, right? With Laura's show. They tried to do that and it backfired.
Well, look what happened to Dinesh D'Souza.
Yes.
Under the previous administration, he admitted to something, but they brought the full weight of the federal government on him as
he became a target because of his anti-Hillary, anti-Obama.
The movie was a big hit. The books are a big hit, and he was very critical of President Obama. He admits that when it came to campaign finance, he gave too much or through straw buyers. But to get a year in prison, over the top, the president thought. Here's what he said about getting the pardon yesterday.
No American in our country's history has ever been indicted, let alone prosecuted, let alone locked up for doing what I did. This was a vindictive political hit that was kind of aimed at putting me out of business, essentially destroying my credibility, making it impossible for me to make movies, write books. In that sense, it failed, but it still left a cloud over me. I would be a lifelong felon. I would never be able to vote and never have my full rights. And so I'm very grateful to President Trump for giving me those rights back. He said upon reviewing it, he felt a great injustice had been done, and that using his power, he was going to rectify it, sort of clear the slate. And he said he just wanted me to be out there, to be a bigger voice than ever, defending the principles that I believe in.
David, your reaction to the pardon?
I am so happy for Dinesh. This is what presidential prerogatives about pardons is about. This is a grave injustice to Dinesh, and I'm happy that he's being made whole through this. But let's talk about this for a minute, because everybody's talking about the pardons. You know, it's one of the things presidents can do, but most presidents are politicians, and they do them in the secret, in the dark, on their way out the door, in the last minutes of their administration. Mark Rich gets, a financial benefactor of Bill Clinton gets pardoned at the last moment. You know, you got Oscar Rivera, who is an FALN terrorist, bombed Francis Tavern down the street here, murdered Americans, and was pardoned by Obama. You know, we have serious, and it does it on the way out. Bradley Manning, right, gets a pardon by Obama. A traitor to this country gets pardoned.
And still angry about it. Geraldo, do you feel the same way as a lawyer?
I do about Dinesh, who I don't know, but I think he was harshly treated and over-sentenced. But I also agree 100%. If the president, he has alluded to this, but if he follows through, I think Martha Stewart, what she did did not merit the absolute humiliation and prison sentence
by James Comey.
She got. Rod Blagojevich, the governor of Illinois, got 18 years for what I didn't even think was a crime. He should be pardoned immediately, or his sentence commuted, I think, would be more appropriate. Furthermore, I think that my dear friends, Bernard Kerik, the New York City police commissioner, who got 3 years for absolute bogus charges about a cheap paint job in his apartment. The Commissioner Kerik should be pardoned, as should Michael Grimm, the Republican congressman in Staten Island. They went after him for campaign finance violations. They found none, so they got him for hiring 2 undocumented Mexicans in the kitchen and stripped him of his law degree. went to jail for a year. He should be pardoned as well. He's running now against Dan Donovan, the current congressman in the Republican primary out in Staten Island. I think the pardon power, and listen, with Martha Stewart, Rod Blagojevich, I have something in common with them. I was also on Celebrity Apprentice, as you all know, so I would like the president to give me a prospective pardon
just in case I do something. Absolutely. Or just give like a get out of jail free card.
Yeah,
so it's not like the president said everyone. He's got 82 requests for pardons, 98, and he's rejected 82 of them. 98 requests, over 2,108 petitions. So he's got a full plate.
Look, there are members of the military, right, who have had to make incredible decisions, split-second decisions, who have been prosecuted, whether it's on the battlefield somewhere in Iraq.
Yeah.
And I think this president, who
Clinton Lawrence,
yes,
right, whether it's that gentleman or the person who took a photograph of his workstation on the submarine, who was prosecuted and sent to Leavenworth for years and years. This president is going to look at some of those injustices and say, you know what, enough's enough. And he's doing it while in office as opposed to on his way out the door, a coward's way.
And just the last word for me. Bravo, Kim Kardashian. This is the week of the Kims. You have Kim Jong-un, the other Kim Jong, the other guy, and another Kim, and Kimberly Guilfoyle. Now Kim Kardashian goes to the White House to plead for the pardon of this nonviolent drug offender, first-time drug offender, life with no possibility of parole. It could have been 20 to life. That would have been very harsh, and at least you'd have a possibility of parole. I think that Kim Kardashian using her celebrity in this regard is, I think, admirable.
All right. Thanks, Geraldo.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
David, for being
Thanks
here.
for having us.
All right, coming up straight ahead, just hours from now, a North Korean delegation will arrive in Washington, D.C. and hand-deliver a paper to the President of the United States. It's a letter from Kim Jong-un. What will it say? Will it be in English?